All right, YouTube, we're back. We're previewing Alabama, Texas A&M. We're previewing Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, Kentucky, Notre Dame, Ohio State. They play two different teams. Don't worry about them. That's what we're all previewing. Like, subscribe, enjoy, comment for the algorithm. Jack, tell them something to comment.
Who's going to have the Heisman lead after this weekend?
Bang. Comment that, and we'll then enjoy. Hi. Welcome to Unnecessary Roughness, Barstool's college football podcast that talks about college football, where we talk about the weekend in college football and everything that's happening in college football. So, before we talk college football, Casey's going to tell you about a drink that goes best with college football.
You sound like you're trying to be from Anchorman, but High Noon Hard Seltzer, Jack and Katie has it between them. Katie's holding it right now. I am at home. If you listen to the podcast on Monday, you know that I am dying a slow death. So I cannot drink High Noon right now until I am better. However, the first day that I am feeling better, Katie, I'm going to grab me a peach tall boy High Noon because we've got a great slate this weekend and the weather is still trying to decide what season it is, but it doesn't matter. High Noon always hits.
It solves the problems. It makes college football more fun to watch. It also just tastes good. It's a nice, refreshing drink at the end of the day. And it's so good, you can even have it room temperature. Obviously, cold's the best, but it's a testament.
Yeah, that's how you know whenever a drink is actually good. It's kind of like, when you have food when you've been drinking, and if you can actually eat it when you're sober, it's good food. A drink is good no matter what temperature it is. We've got the tequila, the vodka, you go to Drizzly, you can get it sent to your couch, you can get it sent to your tailgate, go to your liquor stores, wherever you are watching college football or NFL football this weekend, make sure you have High Noon. Got the game day pack, Katie is holding it. If you're watching on YouTube right now, it's beautiful. High Noon is the best. New flavors are coming soon, so make sure you go get it.
And we're starting 40 straight days of football. I think today starts that streak, so every day. And then you have even more excuse for High Noon.
There you go. High Noon. All right, Ron Burgundy, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, I want to break down this Jacksonville State, Middle Tennessee State matchup, and I want to go through the two deep and everything about that. And then we'll talk about FIU and New Mexico State. But since we don't really have time for that, let's just go ahead. I got a statement about college football this season. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Absent the Colorado hubbub that we had for the first couple of weeks of the season, put that aside. I'm looking forward to this week, and we're preparing for Texas and Oklahoma and for Georgia and Kentucky for all these games. It feels to me like games are happening on Saturday, 7 days are going by, and games are happening again on Saturday. I feel like we've had less, aside from Colorado, less off the field hubbub and less off the field news. It feels like it's been a very slow news year in college football outside of the actual games. Does anybody else feel that, or am I crazy?
No, I wouldn't have thought that until you said it. But as you were saying that, it's true. Like, you sit down and you look at the games for the upcoming weekend and you're like, wait, nothing has really happened. I feel like maybe it's because the offseason was so crazy with news and conference realignment continued to pop off up until kickoff of the season. Like, Jack, I mean, you and Katie are obviously way more on social media than Brandon and I are. Like, do you see the same thing that we do? Like, it doesn't feel like there's much going on other than just games, which is great.
All right. The only thing is, I know you're saying sans Dion.
Right. But Dion exists.
Dion does exist, and that was for 3 weeks prior to we debated the Travis Hunter thing with Henry Blackburn. There's been a lot of discussion about Dion left and right. So I will say that is probably the biggest story college football has seen from a national perspective in a little bit. We also have yet to see a coach fired. That adds to it. There's no real scandals.
I guess the Mel Tucker thing is
true. Mel Tucker did get fired.
Kind of bearing that.
Mel Tucker.
So I guess we're stepping all over our point, and we're just the things have happened.
Well, that happened in preseason too.
Well, he was talking in season.
I know. I was saying that in preseason there's so much hype about conference realignment that we're like, we just want to talk football, and now I feel like we're complaining about having to talk about football.
Yeah, well, we're not complaining. I just felt like
I like it.
It's like I was looking at what to talk about today. I've got Urban Meyer declining any interest in Michigan State. Like, duh. Okay. I do like the fact that Urban Meyer is out there because it allows people to show how hypocritical they are about college football. Because I think 100% of people, 100% of college football fans, if they're polled right now, would say Urban Meyer is a scumbag. I don't want him to coach at this place. But then if he's rumored to coach at your place, well, he's not that bad. I mean, this is a good football coach. Everybody deserves a second chance. Like, Urban Meyer exists to show, it's like Hugh Freeze. Like, Hugh Freeze has a job. Hugh Freeze shouldn't have a job, but he does, because we're all hypocritical pieces of shit in college football.
Brandon, I think those two things can be separated. What your original statement was, he's a scumbag and I wouldn't want him to coach. Those are two different things. He's a scumbag, but if he coached my team, I'd be okay with it. Like,
he'd be my scumbag. Yes.
Yeah, he can be my scumbag. I mean, Jimbo Fisher has had some scumbaggery things in his past. Now, I'm not, over the top excited that he's A&M's head coach right now. However, there are a lot of people that when he was hired was like, well, I don't care what happened at Florida State. It just depends on where your line of scumbaggery lies. Like, if Art Briles was coaching at A&M, I'd have a huge problem with it. But it kind of depends.
Unless you were winning.
No, Art Briles, I mean, if hand to God, which he'll never, ever get a big job anyways. But if you ever heard me say I'd be okay with Art Briles coaching anywhere, you are allowed, you, Katie, and Jack can slap me across the face as hard as you want for the rest of my life, because there's no way I could walk that back.
Done. I have been waiting for this moment for years. Finally, I get to slap Casey Smith. You guys saw it. She said it.
Well, Art Briles is not coming to College Station because he's never going to get a job again. However, Urban Meyer is one of those guys that I think that those things can be exclusive. Like, he's a scumbag. He lied about being sick multiple different times. However, he knows how to win national championships.
Do we know that, though?
What?
Lied about being sick.
Yeah, we don't know that.
Yes, we do.
No,
I don't think he lied about being sick. I do think he probably embellished.
The headaches at Ohio State. I don't know about.
Hey.
I will say,
sometimes men miss work because of headaches.
That's true.
There are some things you can put into question for Urban Meyer without a doubt. This sick thing's tough because, like, how do you know if someone's sick?
Yeah, you're right, Jack. I shouldn't say
we do know he stuck his fingers up somebody's butt.
I don't care about that.
4K.
Who among us? The people in Florida, though, or the situation in Florida different, but like the headaches thing at Ohio State did feel odd with all the stuff going on around the program. I can't speak. Like, I should never say somebody's not sick. You're absolutely correct. However, it did seem there were some shady things going on, but he's a good head coach, and people know that he's not committed some heinous crime or been a part of heinous crimes. Maybe.
Let me throw an idea at you, or a little discussion starter at you guys. And I did not prepare a single one of you for this because I wanted it to be off the cuff.
Oh, good.
Now, this show has been this year just one long victory lap for me as I continue to be right about everybody. Brandon Walker is right about Arkansas. Brandon Walker is right about Texas A&M. Brandon Walker is right about South Carolina. Brandon Walker is right about Missouri. On and on and on and on. And God, is Brandon Walker scared Oklahoma's going to win this week? Yes. But that's another discussion for another day. I now offer Casey Smith, followed by Jack Mack, followed by Katie Stats, the ability to take the floor. And Casey, tell me a team so far through 2023 you have been dead correct about. Jack, you have this chance. I'll stall for Casey. You have this chance to get your team ready. Casey is dying.
I'm dying. That's.
I was right about Oklahoma State. They've been utter disappointment, and they really look like they could not even make a bowl game this year. Oklahoma State is definitely a team that I was correct on. And I'll say Texas.
I'm no longer dying. I would say probably the most correct, the most confident I was about is Texas. We'll see what happens this weekend with the Red River Shootout, but it takes a lot, I think, for any college football fan to put on a hat and say, okay, like, let me be right about the team that I've learned to hate my entire life. Texas thus far, Florida State, and then not to, go back round and around. But, I did say that I thought Colorado was not going to be near as bad as a lot of people did. I did not expect them to win every single game. And there were a lot of people going into the season that were like, they're not even going to hit their team total. It's going to be an utter disaster. And obviously winning those first 3 games and the way that they did, obviously I was very right about that.
Texas
and
Tech.
Statistics?
Texas Tech, slightly Florida State, but I think Texas Tech was the bigger one. I don't know how loud I was about it, but I remember in reading all the previews, everyone's like, this is the year, this is the breakthrough. All the stats and evidence from last year, it just did not add up to me, and I didn't really understand where it was coming from. I wish I was louder about it, but I think Texas Tech was the biggest one. And then opposite Jack, Oklahoma State might have been the one I was most wrong about.
Yeah, you did have Oklahoma State being really good.
No, it was most surprising. Like, I wouldn't say most, like, I had barely like 8 wins, 9 wins. I was like, oh, Gundy's going to find a way even without the hype. He's one of the guys who just literally find a way, and was wrong.
Can I bring something to the table for everybody?
Oh, please.
How are we all feeling about the fact that we didn't put none of us put Ohio State anywhere on the Big Ten graphic through 5 weeks of college football?
I mean, I think the Big Ten is playing out like a lot of us thought. I mean, whoever picked Michigan is still pretty much right. Penn State is still right there. Ohio State, I mean, I don't think any one of us, it just happened that graphic doesn't allow that much. There's no nuance to that graphic, right? There's who I think is going to win, who I think is going to be disappointing. I thought Ohio State would be right in the mix and could be a playoff team, but if you have to pick a winner, I picked Penn State. Therefore, Ohio State wasn't on the graphic. I still would pick Penn State right now.
Yeah, I'm still taking Michigan. I didn't know if anybody is started to kind of walk that back a little bit.
Well, you know what? I was opening up to this next question. What were you wrong about, Casey and Jack and Katie? What's the one team you were wrong about? I can't really participate in this particular discussion because I don't have one.
Yes, you do.
Who?
You have to have at least one.
Go.
After this weekend, we might have Oklahoma.
Well,
that's. I meant to this point.
Fair.
Brandon, I don't want to do this because this is not the podcast where we need to bring it up again. They're playing on the Pac-12 network. No one's going to be talking about them. But you did not think Colorado was going to win shit this year.
I thought they'd win 6 games.
They're
going to win 6 games. I did too think they were going to win 6 games. They're going to win 6 games.
You thought they were going to get killed by TCU.
I did think that.
So then I found one here, and I will offer this up to you in tandem. I was wrong about TCU. I thought TCU was going to be better. I didn't necessarily think they were going to be this bad.
Well, they weren't good last year.
Well, they were. They made it to the national title.
Yeah, fluke. Okay, and you guys you're missing the one that I was wrong about. And I mean, I was taking everybody to Mississippi State. I thought, okay, disrespect us if you want to. Will Rogers, and I was just all about it, and they were right.
But I feel like and maybe I'm just being too nice because I feel like we do this all because we're all friends too. Like, I feel like you get a pass on your own team.
Yes, agreed.
You get a pass on your own team because if you go into the season and be like, we're going to absolutely suck, then like, what's the point of being a fan?
Yeah. Jack, who were you wrong about? I feel like yours is easy, but even though you weren't that wrong about it, but maybe I'm guessing wrong. Who else were you wrong about?
Clemson.
Yeah.
I definitely thought was going to be.
You picked them to win the national title. They could still like go 10-2 or 9-3.
Yeah, but I will say I had bigger expectations.
Yeah.
Losing to Duke, definitely. Obviously Duke's a good team, but that definitely dictated that I was off on them. I would say, Clemson's my number 1 team I'm most wrong about, which is, for this sake of exercise, very easy, which is good. I don't even have to think about it. Clemson.
Katie?
I said Oklahoma State earlier, but to add one, I think Brennan Armstrong and Robert Anai, that combination, it's like NC State as a whole, I thought that was going to work. They're going to have a superpower quarterback. Brennan Armstrong just got benched this week.
Yeah. Casey, did you say one?
TCU.
Yeah, TCU.
I thought TCU was going to play Texas in the Big 12 championship.
Now, before we dive into this slate and games and everything else, Jack, I'm sure you can tell them about our friends over there at.
What?
Read a fucking ad.
Game time.
There you go. Now let me set that up better. Jack, Casey, I'm sure y'all can tell them about our friends over there at
GameTime.
There we go.
We love GameTime. The Barstool Sports ticketing app. It is phenomenal. The user interface is great. My experience with GameTime has never been a failure.
It's the number 1 ticket. It is the ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. I've gone to events after getting tickets at GameTime. They've cracked the code on getting tickets late. Like if you wake up day of and you don't have tickets, you're like, oh my God, I can't get tickets now. The prices are through the roof. Not with GameTime. They are going to get you the best price late, Casey.
Yeah, they're like, whenever you've tried other ticketing apps, like there's just like frustration with trying to figure it out. Like all the different prices, all the different fees, like where can I get it? GameTime, you can do it, like you said, right up to the very last minute. And of course, there have been a lot of times where Barstool has sent college football fans to the game. Like, we're in the crowd and they got to go to the game because of Game Time. So that's how last minute you can get it. Of course, I'm going to say it for the millionth time. They sent me to Justin Bieber with Joey Camasta, and I will always love them just for that, amongst other things.
Yeah, it really is the number one ticketing app. We have their website and everything. Go download the app right now. I don't have my ad copy is what I'm trying to tell you guys.
You're good. It's in your phone for the other ones.
I got it. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code RUFF for $20 off your first purchase. That is a good amount of money if you're getting last minute tickets to anything. It's not just football. It's all sports, all concerts, all events. Again, create an account, redeem code RUFF for 20% off. Terms do apply. Download Game Time today.
All right. Now, Jack, I'm sorry I told you to read the fucking ad. I thought you were picking up on my clues. What else we got here? Let's dive into the slate.
What a slate we have.
Before I have named this slate, it's called also Sneaky Saturday. No, it really is good. It really is good. And there's a lot of teams that face some come to Jesus moments. Like if you're Kentucky, right? If you're Kentucky and you're 5-0 again, it feels like annually Kentucky gets this game where is Kentucky real game or not? 5-0 Kentucky on the road at Georgia. If you're real, you go compete in that game, possibly win it. Louisville. You've been telling everybody, we're going to have this record. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Okay. If you're real, you're going to go beat Notre Dame this weekend, right? Oklahoma. As much as I've thrown shade at you, if you are real, if this isn't fake, you're going to give Texas a run for their money this weekend. This is a big nut-cutting weekend for a lot of teams out there that have to prove it. Hey, A&M, no better time than now for this opportunity. You're 4-1. You got Alabama coming to your place. You have competed with them almost every time you played them recently. You've competed with them till the end. Now's your chance. Missouri, 5-0 Missouri. You want to be 5-0? Here, you got LSU on a silver platter. I think up and down this card is some prove-it moments. We're getting into the part of the season. I'm not to say games a month ago don't matter, but we're getting to the part of the season where there's some real weight to these games, Casey.
Yeah, and a lot of these teams, we're waiting to kind of see the way the conferences shake out. There are a lot of games this weekend where we're going to start to get a lot more answers, not, definitively, but see how things are starting to shape out going into October. And September, I feel like we had a lot more of important games, and maybe that's just recency bias because we're in this year, but there were a lot of really, really important games in September. But now we're going to start to see kind of the landscape and how that plays out. And obviously for me, with the SEC West being, fully in front of us now, what that's going to look like because my team is in that mix. But across the country, we're going to start to see more things lay out. Except probably the Big Ten East. I think that's going to continue to be a question mark till the end of the season.
And the Pac-12 definitely still has a lot more massive games to be played out. But I do agree. I mean, for the most part, we are they were definitely from the entire country's landscape. I feel like this weekend is great. It's just we are about to learn so much.
Yeah, no, and those teams I mentioned, like Louisville, like Kentucky, and even in the Pac-12, what's the one marquee matchup in the Pac-12 that I'm missing? I'm not seeing it. Washington State, UCLA. Washington State, UCLA. UCLA went on the road at Utah. They lose. People kind of throw them away, but they're still going to be a hard out for anybody. And Washington State is number 13 in the country, and they passed every test so far. Well, this is a huge test on the road, and there you go. So I think it's an awesome weekend. I think it's fantastic. Now I guess we can do our categories, unless anybody has anything to add.
Oh, sorry, Jack. Go ahead.
I guess we could dig a little deeper into just the marquee ones. I mean, Oklahoma, Texas, I feel as if, at least for this podcast, is definitely the most intriguing. Just because
I've made it a line in the sand game that I probably shouldn't have made it for you guys, but I guess I have.
Well, for us, I mean, Oklahoma, you've seen, and Brandon, to your credit, and I mean, you could say it about a lot of teams right now. There are teams that have had tough games, but they haven't really played anybody. And then also, because the Big 12's kind of down, they don't play a lot of people after this either.
Yeah.
Like, this is also, if everything breaks how we think it's going to break, which is how college football rarely works, but this is kind of part one of two parts for Oklahoma and Texas this year, because it really does look like, and I know Kansas State's still around and whatnot, but it really does look like this is going to be, and Kansas is there too. But this does look, actually, you can't really say Kansas is there. Texas just ran through them, but without Jalen Daniels.
I think it's a 3-team race.
Yeah, and it looks like we'll have Oklahoma, Texas part 2 in December. So this could be a two-parter, and I'm really excited. I am more on your side, Brendan, that Texas is just going to not run through them, but I do think Oklahoma is really improved.
I think people are downplaying exactly how good Texas might be. Like, when people say, a lot of people want to look at this game and say, well, it's Oklahoma's chance. They're 5-0. Oklahoma, we'll see about Oklahoma. Last year, Brent Venables, Oklahoma. I think Texas might be real fucking good. Not win the Big 12 good. I think they might be the best team in the country good. Like, we kind of, when they beat Alabama, the reaction was more, oh, Alabama's not as good as they were. Alabama's a little down. Alabama's this. And then Alabama beats Ole Miss at home like it's nothing to it. Alabama's probably pretty goddamn good. Texas overwhelmed them on the offensive and defensive lines. Texas might be the best team in the country, and we can look at this as the opportunity for Oklahoma to go out and say, hey, that one-year hiccup was just a hiccup. Or this could be the opportunity for Texas to just throw that big orange dick on the table and say, guys, we're here, and we're really fucking good, and we might win the national title this year, and we're going to beat Oklahoma by 3 touchdowns to prove it.
Yeah, I mean, I have Texas as my number 1 team in the country right now. So I definitely agree that they, we talked about it on the last podcast, that they have gotten better in the areas that the Big 12 has not been able to get better at and the national scale since the college football playoff became a thing, which, again, TCU proved that wrong for a game last year and ran up against Georgia. Texas is very clearly better in the trenches, which is what the Big 12 needed to be to compete nationally. However, I do think that there is an element of what we saw last year. It was 49-0. I don't think we're going to see that again. Not just because Texas isn't even better than they were last year or Oklahoma isn't as bad. I think that we saw something we rarely see in rivalry games with two powerhouse teams and powerhouse programs like Oklahoma and Texas. Usually these rivalry games, weird things happen. They're closer. Like when you've seen Texas be really good, they still play close to OU and vice versa. That to me feels like what's going to happen. That yes, I do think Texas is better. I think Texas wins this game. But to sit and say that I think Texas is going to kill OU, I don't think we see that very often in this game, especially when OU is much better this year than they were last year.
Maybe. Can I just say maybe?
I mean, they're ranked 3rd in the country in scoring offense, Brandon.
Yay. They haven't had to score. They haven't had to play yet. They haven't had to play a real game.
Points 3 times through 5 games.
They haven't had to play a real game. They played SMU, scored 28. Played Cincinnati, scored 20.
Okay, well, but Ohio State and Michigan and Penn State haven't had to play, quote, real games either. They're not putting
Ohio State beat Notre Dame.
Okay, but I'm saying that when we have this argument about other teams, they're not scoring 50 points every game. I'm not trying to say that I think Oklahoma's going to win. But
Oklahoma's toughest game, they did score 20 points.
They scored 20 at Cincinnati. They scored 28 against SMU. Now, they balanced it by scoring 73 against Arkansas State and looking like, oh, well, look at us. But it's not Oklahoma hate to say the numbers that they put up, the top 20 offensive numbers, top 20 defensive numbers, are absolutely propped up by the fact that they have not had to play an actual team yet. And you know what? Michigan's the same, Casey. You're right. Michigan's the same. But Michigan hasn't let any team breathe this year. Michigan hasn't let any team even think they're really in the game, and Oklahoma has.
Hasn't there been some slow first halves for Michigan?
There have been slow first halves, but there's never been even when Rutgers scored early and Rutgers was in the game, like you get to halftime, you know that they hit the big fluke play early, but you know they're not going to be able to score enough to keep up with them.
Yeah, you have Florida State right now as your number 1, but then there's a lot of good things for Texas. What do you need to see from Texas to make them your number 1?
I got to be honest. I think I changed my mind on Florida State, Texas about 5 minutes after I sent that out.
Fair.
I think
you did say that on Monday. You did say that you think
Yeah, no, he tweeted it out. That's where I pulled it from.
I think I would probably say Texas is number 1. I think Texas is a better team than Florida State. I was giving Florida State credit. Florida State has the best resume in the country, and people can say Clemson this, Clemson that. Clemson's going to finish 9-3. They're a good team. They won at Clemson. That's a good win. It's going to be a good win. And they beat LSU. LSU's going to finish 8-4. That's a solid win too. And nobody else has 2 solid wins really outside of Washington State. So I I don't know. I was giving Florida State credit for their body of work, but I do think Texas is probably, people focus on the Alabama game, and they should because they beat Alabama on the road. They just destroyed Kansas, and Kansas is pretty good.
Yeah,
they destroyed Kansas. No. Yeah, I know what you're going to say. That was their backup quarterback.
No. I was going to say that was, and we talked about this on Saturday. My biggest takeaway from that last weekend outside of LSU was Oklahoma and Texas took care of business in a massive look-ahead spot. This is especially for Oklahoma because they're chomping at the bit, and Texas. I mean, Quinn Ewers looked great, and he had some issues last year in games that weren't as hyped up that he kind of just laid an egg. And all the reports we heard this offseason were, hey, Quinn Ewers is really bought in. He's really focused, and we're seeing it. He had an awesome running touchdown. This game's going to be awesome. I'm most excited for this one, but Texas A&M and Alabama are close, at least in my opinion, in terms of how close we are to. And I mean, you could watch Oklahoma and Texas A&M or Texas play, and then take a car to Texas Alabama. You'd have to drive really fast, which would be illegal. But if you were to get a car, you would go to, where, Brandon?
Cars.com.
Cars.com.
Which has been the leading resource for the last 25 years online. You can do anything at cars.com. You can go find your car. You can shop for your car. You can finance your car. Everything you need to do for a car, you can do it at cars.com. They have over 2 million possibilities on their site right now. They're uploading up to 50,000 cars daily. When you think of buying a car, literally everything is possible for you. Everything. You can be a Jeep guy, you can be a truck guy, you can be a sports car guy. Whatever mood you're in, whatever you want to project to the world, you can do it with your car. And cars.com has every possibility for you. So many possibilities out there on cars.com. Casey, we whittling down the car search yet?
We are not. I think that's going to be an off-season project for me. So once the off-season happens, I will be going to cars.com to be getting the car search going. But to Jack's point, the drive from Dallas to College Station is not that far. Like, yes, the games are back-to-back, so obviously you gotta jump in and go. But I do know the weather is probably going to be pretty hot in Texas because it's Texas and it's always hot. So you can go to cars.com and you can say, I need air-conditioned seats. Yes. You can do that. You can search and see what kind of air-conditioned seats, make sure that AC is pumping. Only on cars.com. You don't want to go to the dealer and say, hey, can you just show me the different cars where I have this option? No, you can just do it right from your home.
Cars.com. Find your next possibility on cars.com. Where to next? Where to next for us is...
Well, first, I think we should all pick the Red River Shootout. I think we need to be on record what we think it's going to be.
I'm gonna go Texas 34-14.
Oh, wow. All right. I'm going 34-24 Texas, and Oklahoma almost backdoor covers.
Probably 40s to 30s Texas. Texas covers.
I love that general. 40, somewhere in the 40s, somewhere in the 30s.
If I try to pick an exact one, people are going to be like, oh, well, you need a safety and a this. I'm like, 40s to 30s.
Yeah.
High scoring.
I'm going to say Texas 45, OU 38. Now, and by the way, I think that does anybody, I don't know what the total is. I think it's 60 and a half, maybe.
I think it's going, I don't know what score I just picked. Yeah. No, I think it's going under. I think it's going under. Yeah, I think it's going under.
No, that's never fun.
I don't care about the fun. I don't get into that whole, this game's fun to bet the over. No. Texas has a fucking defense.
They have a very good defense. But both of these, now, again, I know we can run this argument back that OU hasn't played anybody, but both of these offenses are putting up crazy numbers. I hate the narrative of this game is fun to bet majority of the time. But this one, the Red River Shootout, you want to see so many points. That's what makes it so much fun. We're not even allowed to say shootout, and I get that. You want to see 1 million points in this game.
You say that, Casey, but the only reason you want to see so many points is because you've seen so many points in the series because neither one of them have played any fucking defense. Yeah, and for years and years, the Big 12 was great. Come see our great offenses, our great quarterbacks, and we don't play a lick of defense. Well, that's in the Pac-12 now. Now in the Big 12, they kind of do play some defense, and Texas especially.
Yeah, but I do think I think that this is, can we all agree, though, it is one of the best rivalry games in the country?
Yeah, I don't know if I love neutral site rivalry games, but if I were putting them on a pedestal, this is either number one or obviously two. It's this one or Florida Georgia as far as neutral site rivalry games.
Well, neutral.
No, this is neutral. I think they do a good job in this one. I know it's in Dallas. But they always show that overhead shot where the crimson bleeds into the burnt orange. Like, I think it's usually close to 50-50. And there's a lot of fucking Oklahoma people in Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas is any big city in Houston is a ton of, except for Austin, but is a ton of both schools.
I was talking today to Old Row Swig Mike Schwartz, who created Old Row, and he was in the office today, and he said he has to leave Dallas. He lives in Dallas for the Red River Shootout because he does not like. He went to Oklahoma State. Does not like Oklahoma or Texas fans, and they take over the city. So.
I love the commitment to leaving the city. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, he said he can't be in Dallas for the Red River Shootout, and he can't go to Norman for Bedlam because he says it's the worst experience ever. He said he went once, he'll never go again because he doesn't hate Oklahoma grads, he hates Oklahoma Walmart fans.
Oh, fair.
Oh, it's the same thing with me in Alabama. The guys working at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
That's what he literally compared it to. He said it's the same thing as Alabama. And they have no professional sports team, so they're all Oklahoma fans, and he says he quote unquote despises them.
Well, listen, on Twitter, every Oklahoma fan that wishes death upon me or that gets in my DMs looks the exact same. He's 38 years old. He has a golden retriever. He is
nothing wrong with golden retrievers.
That's fine, but he's 38 years old. He's balding a little bit. He's a little pudgy. Doesn't look all dissimilar to me. Has a goatee. Has a Bible verse in his Twitter bio. Has a tribal tattoo. Like, and they're all the same fucking guy.
And not to throw any type of sunglasses under the bus, but all the same kind of sunglasses.
Yeah, the wraparound shades, yes.
I will say that my father, my lovely dad, hates this game so much, Jack, very similar, because he said that he wishes both teams could lose so bad. And that's all he wants. He's like, I wish they could both lose. And I mean, Saturday morning, I'm going to get the same text. I grew up very close to the Cotton Bowl. I mean, I grew up in Arlington, but I've never been to this Texas State Fair, and I've never been to this game because we avoided it like the plague because my dad hates both of these teams so much.
That's some good old-fashioned hate. I'll give him credit.
Good old-fashioned hate. Like, his dead body would an Aggie family be stuck at that game. So.
When it comes to the second best game on the schedule, I guess Jackie is probably right. It probably is A&M and Alabama. You know, Louisville Notre Dame is very, very interesting to me. But let's go ahead and go to Alabama, where the SEC really this week, maybe the focus is on future SEC teams, Texas, Oklahoma, but the SEC is just throwing some low key heaters out here. Like Bama A&M is very important. Kentucky Georgia is very important. Mizzou LSU is very important. But Alabama A&M, I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. I said it last show. A&M's beating Alabama. A&M is going to beat Alabama this weekend, and A&M will emerge as the favorite in the West, in my opinion. I think A&M is, outside of the fact they have a backup quarterback now, I think they are very good from front to back. They had the loss to Miami, and when people saw that, they said, oh, my God, A&M sucks again. Miami's pretty good. So I think A&M is a very good team. Alabama has going to Kyle Field is not easy for Alabama. Even when they've won, they've kind of just had to get out of there. And this isn't Jalen Milroe has I think is better than people think. But Jalen Milroe on the road isn't something I'm just going to trust against a good defense. I like A&M a lot in this spot, Casey. I'm sorry.
Don't you apologize. I am drinking that Kool-Aid, and I'm loopy because I'm on so many cold medicines right now, but I am drinking this Kool-Aid. The last time Alabama went to Kyle Field, you remember what happened? They lost. Nick Saban's obviously not going to forget that.
Let's go 4-7. Remember her?
Oh yes.
That's right.
Let's go 4-7.
I wonder if they're
the
still
whole family
together.
was watching, and he kicked the field goal, and she just bailed out.
That's small. Oh yeah. The whole vibe around this game is always, and again, people are always like, oh, A&M lives in 2012, whatever. There's only so many things that we can hang our hat on, but the vibe in this game, for the most part, since A&M has gotten into the SEC, has been like, it's a weird game. Things happen. A&M can win the game. And I understand that whenever we saw Jalen Milroe and Jackson Dart play, my take about who was going to be the better quarterback was incorrect. However, I do stand by the fact that I think majority of the time, now I know he's gotten a lot better since he got benched, but Jalen Milroe has not emerged as this Alabama quarterback that Alabama fans, when they're shot with true serum, would say, this is what our prototypical Alabama quarterback looks like. I think he's still very vulnerable, especially on the road. It's not a night game at Kyle Field, but still a 2:30 kickoff in the heat with 110,000 people, and A&M's defense since that Miami game really has taken a step up. They have the number one defense in the SEC. This offense does look a lot better than it did before Bobby Petrino stepped into the picture, which I can't believe that I'm even saying, but it's true. The bigger thing for me is that this A&M team has proven that, yes, Tyler Van Dyke was able to move around on them and do what he wanted. Jalen Milroe is not Tyler Van Dyke. Maybe he will be by the end of his career. I don't know. But as of right now, he's not. It's on the road, and I cannot wait to watch this game. I'm going to have every piece of A&M merch on me, my son, my boyfriend. We are watching the shit out of this game. I'm in.
I'll go even a step further. I think if Alabama actually went out and got Tyler Van Dyke, which there were rumors over the offseason about him, I think they would have beaten Texas, or maybe even made it a little bit of a closer game.
Yeah.
I think Tyler Van Dyke is very good, and I'm very interested to see Milroe in this game because let's remember, last year Jalen Milroe kept Texas A&M in this game at Alabama. So we'll see how he plays. He's played a little bit better, but last week, he only threw for like 86 yards, I think.
Yeah, because he was busy running for 9 billion miles. God damn it!
But it's gonna be a fun one. I'm really excited. I'll definitely bet Texas A&M. I'm excited to watch it. It's going to be a good game.
A lot of times when I have, created my Jalen Milroe takes this year, whether it's biased or not, it's because I can still remember that game last year. We were at the gambling cave and, I was like, how is this game even this close? Alabama looked so good. And then obviously, he was a backup quarterback, but going back to the Texas OU thing, because we talk about the way Texas was able to play against Alabama. What Jalen Milroe looked like in that game is not what Jalen Milroe looks like now. And he has gotten a little bit better from what we've seen. But it's like, does Dylan Gabriel look like a better quarterback than Jalen Milroe did when he played Texas? I would say yes. We don't know what Jalen Milroe is capable of. We saw what he was capable of against Ole Miss. And then, no offense, Brandon, but against Mississippi State, it didn't really matter. A&M's defense is really, really, really good. And I know that it's like, okay, I'm biased and I have my A&M goggles on maybe, but I think that A&M wins this game.
All right, let me transition to one, and then we'll start getting to our categories soon. A little quicker conversation on these last two. Anybody giving Casey, anybody giving Louisville a chance against Notre Dame at home?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Louisville's interesting to me. They have one blowout win on their resume, I believe. They beat Boston College. They had to come back against Georgia Tech. They beat Indiana by 7, which that one might be a little bit misrepresentation because I think they were up double digits. And then last week they beat NC State by 3. But this, and I don't know the name of their stadium off the top of my head. Is it Papa John's Stadium? Papa John's?
No, Papa John's got removed.
L&N. I don't know what it stands for, but
he was problematic.
Whatever the name of their stadium is, it's going to be rocking. It's going to be as rocking as it can possibly be. And Notre Dame, they lose to Ohio State at home, and then they have to go to Duke, and they have to face however good that environment can possibly be. Now they have to go face however good this environment can possibly be. Like they're taking everybody's best shot right now, and they were lucky to get out of Duke alive. I wonder if Louisville has the same energy.
I think that Louisville is a good team. I know that they've, as you mentioned, found ways to win. They were one of the teams when we did our previews that I thought people weren't as high on as they should be. However, if you looked at that game last week, they couldn't get a running game going at all. It was completely stifled. I think Notre Dame's defense is much better than anybody they've seen. And I'm still on the Sam Hartman train. I still think that this offense is very good. And, I understand Ohio State won the game, and we can't take that away from them. But the way that Ohio State won that game did not diminish how good I think Notre Dame is. And I just think they're a better team than Louisville. But Brandon, I have a trivia question for you because I did not know this until I was researching this game.
Go.
Outside of 2020, because that, the COVID year, when is the last time an ACC team has beaten Notre Dame? In the regular season.
I don't know, but I'm just guessing.
NC State 2016?
NC State 2016.
Miami 2017.
Miami 2017 was
I was
my.
going to see if you. I was going to see
Yeah.
how deep that trivia went. I didn't like. They're making this the headlines, and my dumbass was like, "Well, didn't they play in the ACC in 2020? They didn't go undefeated, but obviously that COVID year was thrown out." But I think that's a weird stat. Like
But they did go undefeated in the ACC that year, didn't they?
No, didn't they lose to Clemson?
In the title game, but not a regular season. Remember, they beat them in the regular season.
Oh, that's right.
They beat them because remember that was Oregon State guy. DJ had to play for Trevor that day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in 2020.
It was the
So,
BC, the Notre Dame game.
Lose a single game in 2020 in the ACC?
I don't think so. Did they? I mean, they got to the
not.
playoff. I don't remember who. They might have lost the game in 2020, but I know they beat Clemson, and Clemson was the only one that I don't remember.
That's a regular season. Then
let's
probably
let's not even try to revisit 2020.
Yeah, let's not, please.
Couple more games, and then we get right to the categories. I just need to drop my friends in Columbia, Missouri off right here at the curb. I have driven the bus with you. I got you here. I got you here.
You're leaving?
You climbed on my back. I got you here. I'm going to just step off for a week. I don't think you're going to beat LSU at home. I'm not leaving. I'm just going to run in the store and get a pack of cigarettes.
It's a pit stop.
It's a little pit stop. We're going to gas up. I'm going to go in. I'm going to get some beef jerky. I'm going to get some bugles. And then when I get back, we're going to ride for a while. But I'm going to go ahead and get off right here for this one. I do think LSU, a pissed off LSU, comes in and beats Missouri. But I do love that me and you, Missouri, got to this point at 5-0.
I think LSU is going to win this. Brandon, when you were just talking about that, it reminded me of the time that Katie and I tricked you.
Yeah, you tricked me into getting cigarettes.
Yeah. Tricked you into saying that we need to go to the gas station to buy cigarettes.
No, you said you were going in to buy tampons.
I know. We tricked you into the gas station so that Katie and I could get cigarettes.
You don't think that LSU, with like a down locker room, if Brian Kelly is not like corralling them,
I think if Brian Kelly is worth anything as a head coach, he's going to have them realize, guys, listen, sucks. We can't be losing to Missouri. We don't lose to Missouri. And knowing that full well, was it 2 years ago? They lost this game there, right? Didn't they lose this game 2 years ago at Missouri? Am I making that up in my mind? Might have been last year. I don't know when.
No, they did. And then that was Coach O. That was.
Yeah, that was the beginning of the end. Or the end of the end. All right, we got to get to the categories.
Before we do, Brandon,
please.
We're talking about the Red River Shootout and the people in your mentions that are going at you, and they're all wearing crappy sunglasses. You know who doesn't have crappy sunglasses? Who has phenomenal sunglasses? In fact, our friends
Shady
at
Rays.
Shady Rays. Ooh,
not only are they phenomenal sunglasses, they're phenomenally affordable. Like, they're made like these big, expensive guys, but they are, in fact, very affordable.
Yes, the every time that I've worn the Shady Rays that Kelly Keegs gave me when she got them a couple of years ago, people ask me, "Oh my God, where'd you get those? Like, are they expensive?" Because they look like designer sunglasses. They look very cool and trendy, except they're very affordable. So if you happen to lose sunglasses like I do, you're not breaking the bank to go get them. It's an independent sunglass company, which means that like their whole focus is on making great sunglasses, quality that all look good. And if you don't love them, that's the thing. If you get it and you're like, you know what, I don't love this pair, you can exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. A lot of times, Brandon, your face is kind of shaped weird. I'm sure you've found some sunglasses that you're like,
whoa. Fuck. Okay. I mean, you're right. You are right.
It's only because your mom told me about the back of your head, like your face is kind of shit. No. Anytime you've seen sunglasses on somebody else, this happens to me a lot too. I'm like, oh my God, those look so good. I put them on. They look horrible on me with Shady Rays. That you don't have to worry about that. You can send them back. You can get a new pair within 30 days. I love them. We love them. And exclusively for our listeners, you're going to love them too. Shady Rays is giving out an amazing deal for this season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code Roughness, not just Roughness, for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. The good kind, the polarized kind. Try for yourself. The shades are rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Again, that is Roughness for 50% off 2 pairs of polarized sunglasses. Also, I know it's only October. Holidays are coming up. Who doesn't love sunglasses for the holidays? Who?
I would think everybody would love sunglasses at all times. They're just a good gift.
I'm sorry for the backhanded shot at your face.
It's okay. Shady Rays, I need a new pair because I was in Nebraska and somebody stole mine.
They
I
stole yours?
I sat, Casey, did you not see me ask that woman when we were walking out?
I didn't hear. I saw you ask a woman something, but we were walking, so I
I
wasn't.
sat down at an inside seating place in Nebraska. I was sitting there and I put my sunglasses on the arm of the seat. I then got up, went somewhere else. Oh no, I forgot my sunglasses. Walked back over there. A woman is sitting in the seat. The glasses are sitting on the arm of the seat. I said, "Hey, ma'am, are those your sunglasses?" She looked at them. She'd never seen them before. She said, "Yes." And I said, "Oh," because I was sitting in that seat. I left some right there, and they looked like mine. I saw the Shady Rays on the damn glasses, and she was like, "No, those are mine. Those are mine. Those are mine." So a woman in Nebraska, and you know who you are out there. You stole my glasses. All
Why'd
right.
you give her the
I didn't-
option? Just
you-
be like, those are my glasses.
You really buried that because
You
didn't-
saw me do it.
No, I saw you ask her, but then you kept walking. I didn't even know what you were asking because I was like listening to those women like fawn over Dave. But
Yeah.
how did you let that happen?
What was I going to say? There were other people around. If I went up and
those are my
grabbed them.
sunglasses.
Yeah, just walk over and be like, "Oop, forgot my sunglasses. Excuse me," and then walk away.
Or hey, lady, what's the brand on those? Oh, you don't know? They're Shady
Oh.
Rays. Those are mine. See you later.
Yeah, it's like
All right.
in golf. It's like in golf. It's like, oh, what are you shooting?
Yeah.
Like what?
Oh, that's my ball right there. That's my
That's-
ball.
And then
What is
you're
it?
like, wait, what is it? And then they say, oh, I'm shooting a Titleist 2, and then it's a tailor-made 1. That's not your ball.
Yeah, that's not your ball. Get your own ball.
It's
That
not your
was my ball.
sunglasses.
That was my ball. Those glasses.
Is
So
that why
Shady
you got a
Rays-
headache?
Huh?
that why you
The
got a
headache
headache?
was set in long before.
Okay.
The second we got on that stage and the sun just jumped on top of me, it was over.
Yeah.
All right.
Kentucky,
and-
Georgia.
The last, yeah. What? Let's just do the categories and whatever comes up comes up. Because Ohio State, Maryland's another one that we probably need to talk about. But how much do you love football game of the week? Purdue is at Iowa on Peacock.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
how much do you love football? If you're going to find that one out, you're either wearing black and gold or you're just a sicko because that.
Or you've
and
got a
now
lot of money.
Iowa's got a backup quarterback. Purdue's got a backup everything. Like it's just good luck, and it's on Peacock, the backup channel. So categories: Casey Smith.
Mm-hmm.
You could be anywhere in the world this weekend to watch one football game. Where are you going?
I'm obviously going to College Station, Texas, Brandon. And that is not a biased take. That is where a lot of eyes of college football are going to be.
Well, let me stop you there because that's absolutely a biased take. Come on. I mean, Texas, Oklahoma are playing, and like that's a biased take. It's okay that it's a biased take, but it is kind of a biased take.
They
Okay,
have
you're
a
right.
closer spread than Texas OU.
It's a biased take, and I'm not going to sit here and allow everybody to pretend it's not. Go ahead.
Okay, that is fair. However, it's not such
She
a
says
bias.
with her maroon fingernails.
These are fall, Brandon. These are not for A&M. These are for the fall. They are
They're hanging colors. Look at them.
They are trendy. Can I please tell you that when I saw that this was one of the fall trends, that I got so excited because I was like, oh my God, when somebody accuses me of having A&M nails, I could be like, no, it's the 2023 fall trend. Thank you. It is a little bit of a bias take. However, can you give me this? It's not a crazy bias take. It's not like that. It's not like a game where it's like, oh, of course she's going to pick A&M.
It is a biased take that makes sense.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I wish it was at night. I think that it would be a much better game at night. But I understand that 3:30 CBS slot is what it is. But yeah, I would be in College Station and I would be drinking that maroon Kool-Aid with my maroon nails.
Jack, you could go one place in the world this Saturday. Where are you going?
Going College Station. I want to see how loud I can get.
Hell yeah, Jack.
And
What are y'all
that's
doing?
I want to enjoy it. And here's the thing. I mean, I guess also there was one note that we missed. It appeared Hugh Freeze let it slip that Georgia and Auburn will not be playing in the new pod system. And that's why I think Texas A&M and Alabama, I don't know how much they'll play in this new pod system. We do know Oklahoma and Texas are going to play in Dallas every single year.
Yeah,
So I feel
wouldn't
like I'll
believe
be
Hugh
able.
Freeze I wouldn't believe Hugh Freeze if his tongue were notarized.
That's a good point. That
Yeah, but didn't Lane Kiffin say the same thing about Ole Miss and Alabama?
yeah, those are two people we may not be able to trust. I'm with Brandon there.
Yeah.
Like are
But if Hugh Freeze says it, I'm going to need it verified. That's all I'm saying.
that is true, and same with Lane. I'm gonna need it verified from another source.
Yeah. As long as if he was saying anything, as long as it's not a recommendation for whores, I'm probably going to check it out.
Oh, well, but to your point, Jack, I mean, if you're like rationally thinking about the way the pods would lay out, I would think A&M and Alabama probably wouldn't play every year, because I would think that we're going to see the old Southwest Conference. We're going to see Texas, Oklahoma, A&M, and Arkansas is what I would guess.
All right. Katie, if you could be anywhere on earth this Saturday, where would you be?
Texas, Oklahoma.
There you go. I mean, was that so hard, everybody?
No, I mean, I think A&M has a better shot of winning than Oklahoma does, but I think the spectacularness of the Red River Shootout is something that's very intriguing to me, so I would like to see that.
Can I also point out that Jack has a great point about the stadium itself? Because, and this is not me being biased, this is the actual fact. The Cotton Bowl is a shithole.
Yeah.
The Cotton Bowl is disgusting. The Cotton Bowl, I mean, yes, I understand it's a relic of college football, but it's not Kyle Field, folks.
No, I want to see out Kyle Field 100,000+. And I'll never grab my balls like that, but maybe I will this time if this
If
weekend.
A&M wins.
No, because you're supposed to do it when they're losing to
true.
relate to the pain.
No.
To relate
Okay,
to the
never
pain
mind.
of the players
Brandon,
on the field.
Brandon, move us along. Where would you be? Dallas?
Ask me to set up.
Brandon, if you could only be in one place on Saturday, where would you be?
I'd be in Iowa City watching Purdue and Iowa's backup play on Peacock. I've always wanted to be on Peacock, and I think since nobody's watching, I might get a chance to play. Listen, it's Texas, Oklahoma. Not only is it Texas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma fans would just be giving me the business, and that'd be fine. But I really think this is a chance to see a gigantic swing and a gigantic moment for Texas. I think the Alabama win was we're for real. Now, Oklahoma game is for us to show you exactly how for real we are. Like beating Alabama was kind of ringing the dinner bell. Beating Oklahoma the way I think they could is the dinner, and it might be delicious for Texas. So, under the radar game this weekend, the under the radar game games, and listen, I'm going to take this opportunity to slide in some games we haven't really given enough love to, because I think this slate is full of great games like these. Maryland, Ohio State, we haven't mentioned at all. Ohio State had a bye week after beating Notre Dame. We don't know if there would have been an emotional letdown, but they didn't need one because they had a bye week. But now they play a 5-0 team who's dying to prove something to somebody. They're 5-0. They're unranked. I think Maryland is probably good enough to at least give a scare to either Ohio State, Michigan, or Penn State. I would lean towards Michigan or Penn State more because they fall on the schedule better for them. Like, Michigan has to play Maryland between Penn State and Ohio State. That's a great spot for Maryland. This, Ohio State coming off of a bye week, not great for Maryland. LSU, Missouri, there's Kentucky, there's Georgia, all these games. But under the radar game for you, Casey Smith.
I have two in the Pac-12. I have Arizona, USC, and Colorado, Arizona State. Now, obviously, USC is still a top 10 ranked team, but I think it's under the radar because I don't think Arizona is a bad team, and I want to see what USC's defense does. And I know it's a 10:30 game on Saturday, so not a whole lot of people other than people who are watching us are going to be paying attention unless you're a fan of those teams. But I want to see what USC's defense does after a week where it's just getting torn apart again. And then Colorado, Arizona State, it's on the Pac-12 network, so obviously we're not going to see like the hoopla surrounding Colorado like we have. However, it'll be interesting to see against a team that they should be able to beat how Colorado responds after back-to-back weeks of being that national storyline, getting killed by Oregon and you know, obviously keeping it close with USC. What do they actually look like in the Pac-12, not against the heavy hitters?
Jack, what's your under the radar game?
UCLA, Washington State. We talked about it briefly, but I think it's a great litmus test for Washington State. I think UCLA is still pretty good, and yeah, it's going to be a fun game. I also think Arkansas Ole Miss could get a little crazy. It would be very Ole Miss to lose this game to Arkansas.
Katie?
I initially had Purdue, Iowa, but to switch it up, I think Nebraska and Illinois on Friday. Both the Friday games, really, Kansas State versus Oklahoma State and then Nebraska, Illinois. It's gross, but it's going to be good, and both Nebraska and Illinois are struggling right now, so I think it's a good barometer for each.
And myself, Jack, very selfishly tried to take two, and he almost took one right out from under me. But Ole Miss, Arkansas. Listen.
So that's why you made that face.
Yes. Yeah. Here's
I
the
was
thing.
like-
Not
I was
just
like,
for
oh.
that reason. Not just for that reason. Them coming off the emotional win, and now, like, if you remember, Arkansas lost to BYU, and then they went to LSU and gave them hell.
Yep.
Now they've lost A&M. Do they do the same thing? But more importantly than that, I think low-key, over the last 10, 15 years, maybe 20,
Yep.
this annually might be the craziest game in the country.
Every year.
They had the original 7 overtime game with Eli back in the day. They had a 52-51. They had the 4th and 25 game a couple years ago. They had another 52-51 game just a couple years ago.
Uh-huh.
Like these two teams play crazy games against each other. And no matter if it's in Arkansas or if it's Ole Miss, and like he's right, Ole Miss beating LSU and all the emotion that went into that, and now they face Arkansas, who's just going to run it. Like this is a tricky matchup for them. Now their offense is so good they could be up 28-0 at the end of the first quarter, but I think this is the under the radar game because if you're looking for a game that could go 65-63 and 7 overtimes, this is it.
They could be up 28-0 at the end of the first quarter, and then it's 42-42 in the third. That's this game, and I also think both of these offenses, Arkansas, although they've had offensive struggles they're a great example of an offense against a bad defense, can put up big-time numbers. And so this game's going to be, and is it at night? Yeah. So things could get crazy down in Mississippi.
Yeah.
So the very like beating the dead horse, this game is drunk quote. I feel like if you ask me what game created that this game is drunk, it would be Ole Miss Arkansas. Like I don't know if we could ever prove exactly what game started that whole social media trend, but this game is the definition of it.
Also, yeah, because you could pick Kentucky, Georgia, but here's the thing. Kentucky, Georgia is going to be either 35-10 or 28-17. It's just going to be.
It's the same thing every year with Kentucky. Like they start 5-0. Are they real? Oh no, they're actually not.
And then they go, all right. So when does basketball start again? And then after the bowl game, they go 9-3, and they send us a bunch of text messages say, "Talk about Kentucky. Talk about how great they are. Talk."
All right, which team? And I'm going to go first because I know that me and Jack will have the same one, so I'm going to go first. We might all have the same one, so I'm just going to claim it. Which team is on upset alert this weekend? Which ranked team is on upset alert? And I'm going to say the number 13, Washington State Cougars. They're on the road. They're at UCLA. UCLA has the one loss to Utah. I don't think there's any shame in that. UCLA is at home. Washington State, that Pac-12 is damn good. It's 7 deep with good teams. I think Washington State probably drops one at UCLA this weekend. Casey, what's yours?
I had 2, Washington State, UCLA, and Arkansas, Ole Miss. So we've already talked about both of those.
Jack?
I hate to say it, but I got a weird feeling about UNC Syracuse this weekend.
Oh, shit.
I kind of get that feeling too.
But here's the thing. UNC off a bye. Syracuse off of a tough loss against Clemson.
Miami the week ahead, though.
Yeah, look ahead. And I don't know, something about Syracuse, North Carolina. Maybe it's just the basketball fan in me that sees it being a close game, but 8-point spread, I feel like that should be closer to 14 than 7. And so, yeah, I hope it doesn't happen because I want North Carolina to keep going to see how long Katie will say, I don't believe.
No. If we do.
I'll believe it when I see it. Okay, well, it's happening.
Okay, I was thinking about this. What's the difference? Not UNC, we haven't played anyone. Why are you so up on UNC when Oklahoma hasn't really played anyone?
I mean, South Carolina's not. I think South Carolina's better than no one. South Carolina's way better than anybody Oklahoma's played.
Really? Better. Okay, I'm not that high on South Carolina then.
I'm not that high on them either. They're still way better than anybody Oklahoma's played.
I think the way better is a bit of exaggeration.
No. Way better.
What would South Carolina, what would the score be if they played Iowa State?
91-4.
I think South Carolina would kill Iowa State.
91-4. 92-1.
Fair
there.
Enough.
Okay.
Yep. My upset, I think it's Arkansas over Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss left it all on the field. They went.
Can y'all stop picking that so it'll happen?
Oh, you know what I'm going to say?
I have a T-shirt ready
UNC
for it, so I might get screwed anyway.
Wins better than any of Oklahoma's wins.
Really?
Minnesota, App State, and South Carolina.
Minnesota just lost Northwestern.
Agreed.
I think Minnesota's
although
better.
Minnesota not aging perfectly, but
I think who's better than I guess maybe Cincinnati.
Like Cincinnati, Minnesota.
Okay, then
I think
here,
they're the
then-
same team.
Yeah, okay,
then
I'm gonna say that.
Further this on Iowa State or Minnesota.
Minnesota just blew it to Northwestern,
Yeah.
though.
They blew it, though. They were up, and then they had just had a classic PJ Fleck collapse.
Like A to lose, B to
I
lose
don't
in
think
that
PJ
fashion.
Fleck is known for collapses.
Against games he shouldn't lose, he has
Bowling
one every
Green.
year. I know you
I
love.
do-
I know
I do
it's. I know it's.
No, if
That was
I
a
don't.
paid-for propaganda drop in there by Brandon Walker.
No, it wasn't. Shut up.
if,
All right.
if we beat Miami and we're 6-0, I'm gonna lose my shit. That's my.
Hey, I
All
was
right,
about to say, I love this Katie watch. Like, when will Katie believe watch? Jack, I'm with you. Like, I want to see how far this
No,
can
I think
go.
Miami's very good. So like that's a big circle game. Syracuse, I think, is a struggle. That's a tricky one. Miami's tough. 6-0,
Okay.
I'll lose it.
Okay. All right. The next one is which player do you most want to watch? The players to watch this weekend brought to you by Cars.com. Find your next possibility on Cars.com. Where to next? Casey, any player in the country who are you most looking forward to seeing this week?
My unbiased answer is Quinn Ewers, Brandon Walker. I am so excited to see the Red River shootout, to see this quarterback. I mean, both of them, both Dylan Gabriel and Quinn Ewers, but I think Quinn Ewers should be at the very forefront after Caleb Williams of the Heisman Trophy race right now. He has looked unbelievable. Everything that we talked about in the game preview, like Jack said, like he's taking things seriously. And this is that game, whether it's in the Big 12 or the SEC or whatever it's going to be, the Red River shootout is a massive statement for both teams, regardless of how good or bad the teams are year after year. These two teams want to make a statement. And Texas made that statement last year. They beat them 49-10. This year, I think Quinn Ewers has an opportunity to go out and solidify himself as one of the nation's best quarterbacks. I do think OU's defense is better than it was last year, but it's going to be a shootout between these two teams. And I think Quinn Ewers is going to be awesome. I hope he is, because I've taken Texas to win, but I'm excited for that game, man. It's going to be awesome.
You misspoke there accidentally, but let's go ahead and fix that so the neckbeards don't come for you. They beat them 49-0 last year, not 49-10.
Did I say 49-10?
I know that you know that. That's why I'm helping you correct it.
I said 49-10?
You said 49-10, but you meant 49-0.
Well, of course I meant 49-0. And they put up a 50 burger to yes, I'd like to say this, I said it earlier. It was 49-0.
Jack, player that you're most excited to watch.
Talia Tagovailoa. This is his biggest game of his career. In a lot of his big moments, he's turned the ball over a lot. Can he somehow put together a nice little game and keep Maryland in it? I don't know if Maryland has the ability to beat Ohio State, but they could. If they have their best day and Ohio State has a down day, maybe Maryland can finally do it. They've beaten Ohio State before. We were talking about Urban Meyer headaches earlier, but that was the headache game. But I think Talia is matured enough and old enough that he has to do it now. And this is a big opportunity. I'm excited to watch him play.
That's a good answer, Jack. I like
Katie,
that.
if you could watch one player this weekend, who would it be?
I thought Casey was going to take this, but I'm going with Max Johnson.
I couldn't be biased on both takes, Katie.
Fair.
Well, that's what.
I think the casuals are going to look at A&M, say, oh, backup quarterback, whatever. Max Johnson, he had a little bit of a warm-up game versus Arkansas, and now this is a big spotlight. Is this his time to step up and be the dude, or will he forever be a backup? Oh, no. Brandon Walker.
No.
Who's your player to watch?
Okay. My player to watch is Georgia tight end Brock Bowers. Because he is one of the individual best players in the country, and Georgia has now realized they're a little bit less than they were, which means they're not overwhelming teams with their talent this year. They're not just going out there and it's just an avalanche of talent at every position. They're killing teams. That's not happening. So what they have to do now is they do have the very best tight end in the country, one of the best tight ends ever. They have maybe the best offensive weapon in the country that's not Caleb Williams. That's what they have. And in Auburn, when it got close, they just said, Brock, save us. Here, Brock, go get it. Go get it, Brock. And he just kept going to get it and kept doing it. And I think Georgia games might turn into the Brock Bowers show this year. I think he's like 10 catches, 200 yards 2 touchdowns game this week against Kentucky. Like, that's how good he's going to have to be in these close games. So I think Brock Bowers is the guy, as they're really going to have to lean on him, and he is that damn good.
I like that answer too. We all great answers from us.
Well, mine was probably the best.
What are the
though.
odds we're going to see him in New York? Or what do we need
Low.
to see?
They're very low because I think there's too many quarterbacks in the way. But if we did have an actual award that actually said who the best player in college football was, I think Brock Bowers would have to be at the very top of the list.
Because list.
Well, I can't put a Georgia player on the because list. That's just not. I can't. I
When
can't
do
do
you
that.
start that? When do we start the because?
I'm starting next week, just like I said last week. Okay, that's all the categories. Correct? Did I miss one? I think I missed one.
No, you didn't.
No. We have the unofficial butt game. That was going to be my backup. But it's
Baylor, Texas Tech playing?
not. It's the.
Oh, it's
Baylor's-
Tub. It's Tub this week.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, it's Taboo. Taboo.
Tub.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a good play. What are you looking
Baylor
at?
plays TCU this week to
Yeah. So, that's not. That's butt Q.
TCU is Iowa State, I think.
Iowa State.
That's
Wait.
whatever. Okay. I got to go eat my Chick-fil-A
TCU
for lunch. I'm very
TCU or
hungry.
Iowa State is one of the. I mean, that's you want to talk about. You love college football if you watch that game right now.
All right.
We actually, with Cade McNamara tearing his ACL, do you think that this either solidifies Brian Ferentz's he's not going to hit the 25, or is a built-in excuse that he's going to point to, like, that's why I didn't hit it and he'll be safe?
I have to think if you draw up a contract saying you got to score 25 points a game, then you better fucking score 25 a game. You don't get an out. You don't get a free pass. That's what I think.
Fair.
Go eat your Chick-fil-A, Brandon.
All right. So we'll be back Saturday night. Hopefully everybody will be in good health and be here. Otherwise, that is Unnecessary Roughness.